Welcome, friends, back to Friends and Favorites. Today, I have an awesome friend of mine, JJ Jurgens. I've known JJ since basically the start of my whole LA life experience out here in California. We've been friends for going on 10 plus years now. We've hosted several country after shows together at AfterBuzz TV. That's where we first met. Ran a couple color runs together, and we produced a lot of fun things in between all those years. And overall, she's a great person, and I definitely wanted her to be on my show. So here she is, JJ. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So fun to be on this.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I produce your shows so much, but to have our own podcasting show together is kind of a first for us, even though we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was getting ready for the show. I was like, this is so fun that we actually get to be on the same show together and talking together versus just behind, working on so many things together behind the scenes. It's been a while since we hosted together at AfterBuzz, so I've missed it.
I know it's been a minute, but I loved hosting with you because, first of all, I think what really brought us together was country music. We did definitely have that same love. But actually, this is really my first question that I've been asking everyone. Can you remember a time or a moment where we became more than just co-hosts doing after shows together, more than just country fans, more than just fitness people running, like crazy? Is there a moment where you can think we became more than that and became actual good friends?
Wow, that's a very good question to try to pinpoint it to one moment. I mean, I think it definitely started working on the country shows because I feel like that's when we it was like we related on a different level and just with the love and the passion for, the country music show. So I think that was first different than maybe how it was with some of the other hosts, at AfterBuzz that we just kind of show up and do the show and then, leave or whatever. Like we really started to form the bond. I think doing the color run definitely stands out to me because I think that was when we definitely went to another element, and that was it was really fun to experience together.
It was the run or die back in what, 2013, 2014. So that it's been a while since we did that. But it's so funny because I usually always have those moments of when I hang out with someone new, there has to be a turning point for me and be like, oh no, that person's cool. I can hang out with them, outside of work, or I want to know more about that person. And you were immediately one of the first people for me when I first came out here in California, which was April 2012. And then I think I met you literally at the end of that month. So I was still brand new to the LA area. And you were one of the first people. I was like, oh, JJ's cool. She works at CBS. What? She loves country music. What? I was like, all right, immediate friend already. I like you. Yeah, and I think it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just again, that's what I mean. I think that's what there's for me. You were just cool right off the bat too. We just clicked. So it's I think it goes back so far. I don't have a moment of it where I ever thought, that I didn't want to be around this person outside of AfterBuzz. Yeah, we just clicked. And then like I said, I think the country music and things, and then the running, and then knowing that you love the Krav Maga, different things are just just a badass chick, but plus one of the hardest working people I know. So it's just it all clicked.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I actually brought you over to my Krav Maga experience, and but that's the cool thing about you, that you're willing to say yes to new things. You're willing to try things, especially Krav Maga. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, and it can be very daunting to people who don't know that world, how intense it can be. But you were there with a great attitude, big smile on your face, and you look like you actually had fun at the end of that seminar.
It was a blast. I was so impressed that it was something that, you did. And I wanted to learn more about it. I just thought it looked so badass, and hearing you, talk about your training to get your various belts and what you have to go through. I had no idea how, I mean, I knew it was intense, but I don't think I knew how intense, so going that day you took me with you for the women's retreat was just so fun and so great, to just really empowering, and, felt good to be on the mat with all the other women, throwing elbows, doing kicks.
Kicking ass. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I loved about you because I mean this whole show is just going to be me praising you and how awesome of a person you are because I quickly also realized like how much you respect other women um and like their talents, their abilities, and like that you had that personality like no, I like you, you support women, which I feel in our industry we can see a lot of women that get catty, get jealous, vindictive in that way, and but like you were not like that. You're one of the rare souls who actually support women and want to help them, and I definitely feel like you were one of those for me early on in my career out here.
Yeah, I think I've fortunately, yeah, I know what you're saying. I've seen, been on both sides of the women that support people and women, that don't support other women. And yeah, and that's just something that I always want to do. I think it's just important for us all to help each other out and support each other's wins and cheer each other on. It's nice to have people in your corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I feel like you've definitely been one of those people for me out here. Hence the reason why I wanted you on my show, Friends and Favorites. I was like, well, I definitely have to have JJ. Again, top of my list. And yeah, so thank you again for being here. To really start us off, because this is Friends and Favorites, we first bonded over television. No lie there. What would you say is your favorite TV show of all time?
Ooh, of all time. Well,
Yeah, it's just like, is there one or two that like really just maybe you watched 1.5 million times, it never gets old for you, really sticks with you?
okay, that's one for TV show. Um, I mean, this isn't my favorite of all time, but this is what
Okay.
we bonded over was Nashville,
Oh, so good.
I know. So, I mean, I think that was where you and I really got to share our love for country music, country
Mhm.
everything, being from Nebraska, I always like, there's just something that just feels so good down home. And I just love something about the country. So, I mean, so that
Mhm.
was a fun one. I mean, ones that I watch, oh, okay, I gotta know. Let me think of ones. I mean, there's so now, like with streaming, I feel like there's so many, I mean,
So
growing up,
many.
I was total animation. Like I was a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Like I love Scooby.
Yeah?
Yeah, but
Nice.
I was always like, animation and cartoons. But then I think like one that I mean, I love Ozark. I love Breaking Bad. Um,
Those are dark and gritty shows.
I know they are. I just have to pick my favorite. Um, yeah, I guess I do like the dark and gritty ones because I love Dexter. That was
Okay.
that was one that I just
Yep.
was so hooked on. I love you. I guess they're all dark.
Oh yeah. No, that's awesome because I have my fair share of dark shows too. Yeah, admittedly, I only watched like the first episode of Ozark and I tried. And I remember being angry at it because it's so dark, it is visually dark.
Yeah, it is.
Like, oh my God, I couldn't see anything. And I remember that upset me more than the actual storyline, than the acting. I was like, I can't like a show if I physically and visually cannot see it. And I didn't get past the first episode. I was like, I hopefully someone, maybe just me being a cinematographer, as an editor, I was like, just raise the lights, raise the contrast. Like, come on, like I want to see the actors. No, so I couldn't get past Ozark. Um, Dexter, man, that show was like such a turning point for drama and serial killers. I mean, I was more into Criminal Minds, but you love Dexter. What is it about Dexter that stood out to you?
I think because there was some humor in there too. And I liked, whereas the Criminal Minds was definitely a little more serious.
Yeah.
So there was some humor, and I think, I guess hearing the conversations, that Dexter was having in his head, I love that. And then I liked the sister. She had such a like foul mouth, and I just loved her attitude. She was a badass too. So I think so there was, to me, there was some like relief in the darkness. There was also some humor and some other relationship things going on that were really fun.
Yeah, admittedly, I tried getting into Dexter, but I was at, all right, to show you my young millennial age. I was in college when Dexter like really started. And the one time I tried watching it was during my finals week. but that show is so freaking good that I was like, oh my God, I'm not getting any work done. I have finals. I have like 4 major projects literally due at the end of the week, and I'm watching Dexter. So I was like, I can't watch the show. I have to put it on pause. And then I never went back to it. I don't know why.
Oh, that's funny that you never went back to it if it sucked you in like that, you know?
I know. You
Oh.
would think after all this time and with all the shows that we watched that I was like, all right, I'll finally get back into Dexter. But no, for some reason I just never picked it back up.
You
So
have to do that.
yeah, I'll have to try. But okay, so now I'm learning you like the dark and gritty. What is it about, dark and gritty that's more attractive to you than like the light and fluffy?
No, it's so funny. I feel like there's got to be something light and fluffy I like. But I mean, yes, I've liked shows like Friends. You know, I loved
Yeah,
Friends, so that's
classic.
fluffy. You know, so that was a great one that I watched for years. Um, but I I don't know. There must be something in the darkness of the character. You know, I was very interested in
Mhm.
like I didn't go this route in college, but for like a little bit there was something I liked about, criminology and studying that, and I just
Mhm.
how the mind works and how people choose their paths, So maybe there's
Same.
something in that draws me to it. And I guess
Same.
the plot twists and things, the twists and turns that they take, are a little more keep me tuned in, where a lot of times the comedies, it's, they're fun. It's great. It's good release, but I think they get me more like anticipating like what's going to happen next and really like sucked into them more.
Yeah, I love human behavior, sociology and stuff. I actually have human behavior and social environment and social psychology books right there. And I think that was like the influence of Criminal Minds because I loved human behavior, but like what makes us tick, and like what sets us off because like how we grew up, kind of defines of like how we are as people now. And I think you can see that with Dexter with his internal dialogue of like why he does the things he does, and his justifications for that. So I definitely understand, that human aspect behind it.
What are the collecting items you have behind you?
Oh, my fun Funkos. I have all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer here, Hocus Pocus up here, and some Pocahontas, of course, and Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. So just like I have all my different ages of things that I love on this bookshelf. It's kind of like really ADD, but it's like it's a hodgepodge of my personality,
Yeah,
between books and collections.
awesome.
Yeah, to moving on to that because I am also a big bookworm. Do you love reading? Are you a big reader?
You know what? I do like to read. It's
Yeah.
definitely something that I've tried to now like put more time, make more time in my life for, because I used
Yeah.
to, I was an English major or minor in, college, and
Were you?
yeah, so I love to read. Like growing up, I definitely like loved books and loved to read. Spent lots of hours just reading. And then you get busy, you get with work, and it kind of fell away. And a lot of the books I then started reading were like, especially during pandemic time, just
Mm-hmm.
self-help and motivational books, So
Yep.
yeah, I got away from, reading the release stories and just ones that could kind of help me work through different things I was going through in life and, stay focused. So that's kind of what I've been reading recently.
Yeah, interesting. All right. First of all, the whole English minor, that's fascinating. I did not know that about you because for the longest time I wanted to be a literature major. I strayed away from that because unfortunately I had a rough conversation with my mom and she was like, "Well, what would you do with a lit major?" And I'm like, I don't know." And I think just growing up in Illinois in the Midwest, I was like, we didn't really have a lot of opportunities for writing other than being, I don't know, an English teacher of some fashion of writing. So I pivoted from that. But I always admire people who have the ability to write, and love reading as well. So You were an English minor.
I was,
Interesting.
I loved, I had a really wonderful high school English teacher, Mrs. Diekman, if you're out there.
Nice.
She's just awesome. And she really encouraged us. We read great books, and she really encouraged our writing. So I think that's where I really fell in love with writing and just loved to do it. And so, yeah, so originally I was going to plan to be working at ad agency and just do copywriting at an ad agency. So
Okay.
English was one of my minors, but I still play with the idea sometime. And I would love to do something like write children's books or get back. I used to write a ton of poetry, and I haven't done any of that for a long time either. So
Did
that was
you?
also what I loved to do in high school.
Okay, who's your favorite poet? Have to ask.
Probably Robert Frost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's great. And it's funny. I was talking to Robert Frost to Phil about that, and just because admittedly I wasn't the biggest on poetry, other than Shel Silverstein. um, but I don't know. There's something about poetry because it's so special that sometimes it hits with people and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, how do you gravitate towards poetry? What does it do for you?
You know, it's I just liked how much emotion it created in I mean, yes, there's longer poems, but like just in a short amount of time versus going and like reading a book too. Like there were just
Yeah.
sometimes where I just thought, oh, they're just some poems are just so beautifully crafted. And I just think that I like kind of the condensed shortness of it that like just brings up this emotion or makes you laugh or cry or think about different things. It's funny that you say Shel Silverstein because he's one of my favorites too. And I have a niece and nephew, and I gave them that book about a year and a half ago now, and it's their absolute favorite, like Where the Sidewalk Ends, that book.
Yes.
And
Yes. So
it's
good.
funny because they've like memorized a lot of like the one that's like Saturday, or what you say today is Saturday. I'm goodbye. I'm going out to play, that like the whole one that they can memorize. And it just makes me so happy to see it when they recite it to me. Cause I'm just like, oh, they share the love for the Silverstein.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, and his writing was so good.
Yeah.
Some were very intricate and some were just like fun and playful.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad used to read Shel Silverstein all the time to my brother and I when we were kids. And we had I know like just about every book that he had released up until that time. So I definitely grew up with him. And like we would have him reread, Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout, whatever that one was, like would not take the garbage out, which is like the most difficult poem out of all of them. And my dad would he would get so into it with all the like the influxes of voices, and yeah, he had a great time. So yeah, Shel Silverstein is fantastic, and I love how you like pass that on to the next generation.
Yeah, because you never know, because they got the gaming now and so much,
Yeah,
so many things, but that was the one thing that they just really love that book, and they will read it all the time, and you don't have to like get coerce them to get to read that one. They're like, yeah, let's read it. So
yeah. So we kind of skirted around it, but is there a book that you love? I know you said you read a lot of like self-help books and stuff lately, but is there one that
I
like really hits you?
the ones that I've read lately, I actually really loved Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights.
Okay.
I loved I loved that book. I just thought he had great stories and was really motivational. And just a fun, good read. Other favorite words. I did read the 5 a.m. Club, and that one is another kind of motivational one. But that one, it was funny because it tells it more of a story with characters, which I wasn't expecting. With somebody recommended, my trainer recommended that one to me, and I was thinking it would just be more just kind of self help, but they do it more in a whole story. But that one kind of I like because it uh kept me on going on. Like I like to get up early, and that's all about like if you get up at 5 a.m., all the stuff that like you can accomplish and how you start out your day.
Yeah.
So I like that because it just really helped me, get some structure in my life too, and find something that really worked for me.
Yeah. What's it called? 5 a.m. club?
I
Okay. Because I'm always open to book suggestions. Have you ever read Miracle Morning
uh-uh.
by Hal Elrod? I think that's the author name. Yeah, I read that, like, honestly, an ex of mine told me to read it. And I read that years ago, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Because like you were saying, it's like the consistency and the structure of having like something scheduled in the morning, and like you force yourself to do like these certain patterns every morning, and how it just doesn't really become a habit anymore. It's just like a way of life. The things you accomplish before like 7:45 a.m. like really sets up your rest of the day and how productive you can be.
Yeah.
That kind of blew my mind too, and that always stuck with me because I was always the morning person. I never really had an issue waking up in the morning. I mean, hello, that was my entire job at AfterBuzz TV. I was the one who turned on the lights and opened the studios because no one else wanted to be there at like 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because in more in high school, I was kind of the opposite. I was more like I would like to stay up late, and I'm more of a night
Okay.
owl. But yeah, definitely I think like through college and then definitely now, like as an adult like that, I love to be up at 5 every day. And the days I don't, or if I get off that schedule, like I really feel it, I'm like, man,
Hmm.
I like the days when I'm got up, got my workout done, did my meditation, got my voiceover reads done, everything like on the pattern, but and then like I'm like, oh, and it's only 8:30, Great.
Like, all right, now I have the rest of the day to enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but for me, I kind of sometimes cuz I like balance in my life. There are days where I can like get up super super early, be super productive, be done by like noon, and then I can do a complete 180 switch and do literally nothing. Um but then I feel bad about it. I was like, I should be doing something. Are you kind of like that, or do you feel bad when you're not productive?
I do. I do the same thing. Like, even I had again my niece and nephew, they were with me. We have auntie camp. And so they stayed with me. And then that Monday afterwards, like I worked and then I was just like, man, I'm just kind of beat. So I just like
Yeah.
I like sat on the couch and was like, okay, maybe I'll just like watch something. But then I do the same thing where I feel like, oh no, I should be doing something. I had this, and this to do on my to-do list. So it's definitely something I struggle with too, being able to just let go and relax a little bit and not constantly feel like you have to be doing something because you do need that too mentally, mentally your
Yeah.
body needs it sometimes just to like rest and recharge and you know so I'm trying to work on letting go, making myself feel so bad about it when I do it. But
Yeah, I'm trying to get better. Because my thing is like relaxing, who is it hurting? I mean, it's not like I'm affecting anybody by being lazy, in that way. So speaking of that, do you have a favorite way of relaxing or your favorite way to wind down after all of that?
yeah, man, like for me, anything relaxing. I love to be outside. So, I mean, whether it's just if I'm winding down, if it's just walking the dog through the
Mhm.
neighborhood or taking him to the park. I have a Vishla who's extremely active and and energetic. So that's kind of a good way that I kind of like de-stress just because, I play tug of war with him. It makes me laugh and it just, makes me I appreciate just the joy that he puts into like,
Yeah.
anything we do. So I try to remember like he's so excited to be outside, so excited to get a play with the tug toy, it's just like that kind of really always kind of makes any stress like melt away and just kind of like refocus or a little bit like recenter. So I love to do that. I mean, I love anything like active too. So like if I'm not working, it's not really just relaxing, but like I love to be doing, going on a hike, going on a run, um,
Yeah.
doing something to make me sweat and like just
Get
that
going.
yeah, it's when I'm the happiest.
Yeah, and only good, and that's something I also quickly learned about you because I love hiking as well. We haven't been on a hike together, or
We
have we?
I don't
Eh,
think we
I
have.
don't think we have. Well, like, girl, well, what is our problem? We need to get on that.
We do need to get on a hike.
What the hell? Yeah, we
We
need to
haven't
remedy that immediately. Do you have a favorite trail or favorite hike that you like going to?
Oh, well, there's one place I love to go that isn't really that's one's it's not really a long hike, but like sometimes I go there just because I want to see it. So when you
Mhm.
go to Malibu and you go to Zuma, if you go over to Point Doom and then you can
Yeah,
walk up between the rocks up there and then get to the very top and they have like some platforms and or you can just sit on the rocks and you can walk along the coast and then go down a little kind of wood trail. Again, that one's I don't really consider a hike because it's just super short, but that's a place
yeah,
I love. Sometimes I definitely try to get there like every few months if I can, just to like revel in how gorgeous that
yeah.
is. Yeah, we have a group of us that we run like every morning in Griffith Park. So we do some
Nice.
of the trails there. So those are really fun trails. My favorite hike that I've ever been on is I just went to Crete last summer with my boyfriend and he took me on a hike and it was anyway, if you look up Crete and you look up their biggest hike, that was it. But it's so awesome because it started out like through all these rocks and you're in these just the mountains and you're in this gorge and it's just like all up around you, and then you get a little further to get further down and the terrain kind of changes a little bit. So that one's gorgeous. And then I know another one. I love let me real quick on that one with Crete. When you get out of the hike, first of all, when you finish, there's like a little tiny restaurant, like not even a restaurant, just a bar, and they have beer right at the end of the hike where you can
Nice.
have a beer, drink. And then you walk like another mile out of there, and you end up right like in the water on this gorgeous beach and just the blue water. So I think that was like just awesome to do this really long hike and then you get down at the end and you just can like sit on the beach and relax
Have a
and
beer.
yeah. Yeah. It was really awesome. There's another hike that I love if you're ever in the Phoenix area. Is
Ooh,
Flatiron hike.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
The Superstition Mountains. And it's funny because that one is my mom literally lives 10 minutes away from there. And I had gone to see my mom all the time, and we would go and hike Camelback
Mhm.
or like some of the other little mountains by her. I never did that one. And then it's probably maybe 5 years ago now, maybe. So I finally, she's like, well, there's that Flatiron. I'm like, you know what? I looked it up and it looked amazing. I'm like, I'm going to try this one. So, yeah, I just went by myself and that one is an awesome hike too. Again, like it just kind of, the terrain changes and even you're like scrambling up rocks at some
Ooh,
point. Really, really challenging one. Yeah. And then you get up to the top and of course the view is just amazing. So that's a great hike.
amazing payoff. Okay, love it, love it. I'm like taking a mental list right now because I love hiking and I'm always open to, trails that I've never been on, which there are a lot. First of all, going back to the Malibu, I definitely understand that. I've heard Zuma is awesome. Still haven't been. I think I need friends to go because I have a hard time going by myself. I have gone one on one by myself and I'm like, this isn't as fun. It was a cool view and I took a lot of photos and stuff, but I was like, no, I think I kind of like that experience with other people, and when it comes to challenging, hikes, to have someone also like encouraging you and like pushing you up that 1,000 plus elevation, I think I like the experience of with other people. And then Flatirons, actually still, I don't know, for whatever reason, still have never been to Arizona. I need to. It's right there. Well, what's my excuse? So to hear that you went to Flatirons by yourself, that's promising. That's encouraging. I was like, maybe I could do that. I could go to Phoenix one weekend and
Oh,
just go.
I mean, it's like a 6.5 hour drive, and it's really. I don't know. For some reason, I don't mind that drive at all. Like it seems like it goes really fast.
Okay.
So, yeah, you definitely need to go to Arizona and Zuma. You got to do both of those.
Yeah, I just want to like go like top to bottom Arizona from like Flagstaff all the way down to Tucson to just to like see and experience Arizona. And because I still have never been, I've never seen the Grand Canyon either. I'm like so lacking in my experience when it comes to Arizona, because it's literally the next state over. It was like, what's stopping me?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good motivation. I hear you. All right, one day I'll go. I'll go. Speaking of which, do you have a favorite place that you've traveled to? Um, like any place that maybe you've seen in the world that you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
this place just stands out.
So Crete was pretty fantastic. That was an amazing trip. It was just gorgeous. Like I said, the hike was amazing. The beaches were really pretty. We like jet skied on the ocean, so that was so much fun. Um,
Yes.
yes, that's high. And the people are super nice and the food's excellent. So I definitely love that. I also love, I think one of my other favorites is I went with my best friend that honestly we've known each other since we were babies, and we went
Oh,
to Australia probably about 10 years ago or so. And it was so quick. Like I got to go back because I got to actually like, spend more time.
yeah.
But we went to Sydney and we were actually there for New Year's for the fireworks. So that was a really like fun experience. And I loved Bondi Beach there. It's just gorgeous. So that was definitely one of my top favorite trips I've ever been on. We kind of we were a little too ambitious and we only had like we were literally only there a few days. Then we're like, oh yeah, we'll go to New Zealand too. We're here.
Hmm.
Well, we're kind of ding donks too because we like flew into should have gone to the South Island, but we went to the North Island and we yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we only had like 24 hours there. So I'm like, I don't know what we were even thinking, but we made the most of the 24 hours and went to, went out to the country, went on a fun like wine tasting.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love it. It's so funny. I was just talking to someone else and their experience in New Zealand, and I was told that the South Island is just gorgeous. Like both islands are great for their own purposes and looks and personalities, but I hear like the South Island is just like being that hiker, and be like, oh, I want to take pictures. I want to see like the amazing world in front of me, especially at the South Island. So that's definitely on my bucket list of places to go to.
Yeah, we were kind of bummed that we were ended up in the north instead of the south because we're like, oh yeah, we didn't quite plan this out because that's kind of what we wanted to see too. Like I just heard
Okay.
about the cliffs and the hiking and the gorgeous things. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we
One
went on
day.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you need a friend, I'll go. Yeah, that's great. I still have never been to Australia or New Zealand. Definitely on the list one sweet day. Um,
Again, the Australian people, a lot like the people in Greece, like they were just so nice. I remember
okay.
we showed up to go to watch the fireworks by the bridge, but then we couldn't get down there because we didn't have like a ticket. We didn't know you had to have a ticket. And there's this nice lady that was like, she came out, she was at a New Year's party, like right there. And she was like, you girls don't have a ticket? And we're like, no, we didn't know we needed one. And she's like, they
Mhm.
just changed that recently. She's like, I hate that they did that. She's like, hold on, just wait here a minute. She went upstairs, came back out and gave us 2 tickets and we got in.
Oh wow.
I know. So I was like, we're like, these people are the nicest.
They're
So
the nicest. That's awesome. I love that because I feel like in America they wouldn't do that.
we said, too,
uh
like,
as terrible as it makes us sound, but no, that's awesome. I love when you travel to other places and people can immediately tell that you're a tourist, but they don't use that against you. They're like, no, let me help you.
yes.
Yeah, I love when that happens because I found that a lot in Canada. It's
Mhm.
like those are like honestly, they are the nicest people.
Where did you go in
The
Canada?
nicest state. Vancouver.
Okay.
Haven't been to the other side over in Toronto, but I've been to Vancouver several times and like genuinely the nicest people. Like I went to a grocery store and yeah, I had a question and whatnot, and the cashier was like, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" I was like, "No." It was kind of obvious, and I was actually with James Lott Jr. and like they could. immediately tell we were tourists and we were new to the area. And then somehow we struck up a kind of nice, like 5-10 minute conversation with them. At the end of it, they gave us a hug without even like trying to pickpocket us, like it was a genuine hug. Like, oh, you're awesome. Let me hug you. We're like, what? You would not get that in America.
Oh,
So it was like, yeah, I love traveling to new places and just meeting new people that are cool.
Vancouver Island was my that's been on my list to go to forever. And I had a ticket, but then that was right when COVID hit. So that was my
Oh,
COVID cancel. I was like,
oh no.
so well,
I'm actually going to Vancouver Island soon.
oh,
Yeah, that is just it's one of those kind of impromptu but kind of not. Yeah, I was just talking to another friend of mine and yeah, because that's been on my list too, Vancouver Island. I was like, who's stopping me? Again, who's stopping me? It's just like go. Just go.
yeah.
I'm going and it's gonna be super fun.
Are you gonna hike or what are you gonna do?
Absolutely. Hiking, whale watching, just like all the things that that island has to offer within the few days that I'll be there. But I'm excited. Uh
Yeah, I
yeah.
see lots of pictures. I'm gonna be stalking you.
Oh
Look at them.
heck yes. I mean, I have my nice obnoxiously fancy camera, so I plan to. Don't you worry. You'll definitely hear a lot about it. Um Speaking of which, do you going back to like cool people and like and how they are impressionable on our lives, um is there a favorite piece of advice that someone has ever told you, or something that you've heard, or a quote that just like, I don't know, stuck with you your entire life,
Mm-mm-mm.
or you live by those words?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, I was, playing sports. I always had a lot of great coaches with a lot of great, just motivational and encouragement. I think I try to remember there's one, and I'm gonna probably screw it up today, but it's something like when things happen in life, I try to remember like it's not happening against you, it's happening for you.
Mm.
Like I try to remember that like in negative times, and I think like, okay, nope, it's this is gonna like make me better, or this is not happening because something else better is going to happen. Trying to think of what any I think that's the one I say over and over. Um,
Yeah, while you think about that, I love the concept behind it, because a lot of people are like, why is this happening to me? Like, well, what have I done to deserve this? And I think it's just the quick mental switch of, it's not the end wording of it that like really changes the meaning. It's like, it's not happening to you, it's for you. It's to help better yourself as a person. It's to help you grow past this level of uncomfortability. um and I think just like the simple change of semantics changes the way we think about it, and it's kind of mind-blowing in that way.
it's a short little quote, but I say that a lot because it's so easy to get stuck, in like either like a downward spiral or just like getting caught up in thinking, and just try to think like, usually anytime I've gotten in a situation like that, that has been at one point, like something I don't want to be in, or, whether it could be with anything, career, you know, dating somebody, whatever. It's just like when I realize it's like, no, when you keep pushing, get on, past that, or then later you can realize, oh, no, that was, necessary to move me to that next position where I needed to get to. This is cheesy, but think when I think about who tells me, keeps me motivated, on Friday morning is my day to go to Soul Cycle. And I just love that
Yes.
the teacher David there, that I know every Friday he says, something motivational that I just leave there like, oh man, and like today with today, and it was all about,
Mhm.
change and being able to like embrace change and change. And it's like, and he's like, the breakthrough is coming, just things like that, that just keep you going and keep you, a lot of the talk today was about momentum and keeping your momentum going, and not and to stop looking back at your past, that we all like hang on to like, why did I do this? Or like you're saying, like, why was I lazy that day? Or why was I blah, blah, blah? It's like, no, that it's gone. Just keep going forward, keep that momentum going, keep the positive energy going. And, you'll get to where you need to be.
Yeah, I love that. Soul Cycle is amazing. I think I remembered that you're a big spinner. I'm a spinner too, as I literally look at my spin shoes, not 2 feet in front of me. We should do spinning together. I don't like Soul Cycle. I haven't been to Soul Cycle, honestly. But I hear good things about it. I generally just go to like a normal gym and do my
Yeah.
cycling there. But I do have like the SBD clips and the SBDL clips. So like I went through a serious spin phase probably like 2016, 2017. But like I love it. And it's great for the joints. It's easy, it's nice cardio. We should spin together if
Yeah,
you
for
if
sure.
you're looking for a spin buddy.
7 a.m. Fridays, every Friday, 7 a.m. Yeah, and I do I've done other spin classes too. And for I think I don't go to church. So David is kind of like I use that as kind of my
Hmm.
crazy, but it's kind of my church out here because it's like such a good group of people and they're so positive. And then with him always giving the motivational things that I think that's kind of been my go-to like community to like stay positive and keep motivated. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great to have that, external community to constantly encourage you because I think we need that. Like you find that with your spin classes. I find that with my Krav Maga because it's an amazing community. You actually saw some of those people. So like those are the people I hang out with. That push me to a different level that I probably couldn't push myself.
Yeah.
Um I like that. And I think for us, especially out here in LA, it's hard to find those kind of people. So once you find them, you're like, all right, hold on to them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It takes a long time to find those communities out here. So I totally agree that I've struggled to find that and find people with the similar interests. And I think too now with COVID, like I'm still work from home. So I've noticed that a lot. And I was even
Mm,
thinking about that like today when I was leaving the gym, the studio, thinking, when he was talking about community, I'm like, yeah, this really is important for me to do because sometimes just sitting at home all the time, by myself, editing, and it's just like I miss that some of that interaction with people, in the office and the kind
yeah,
of banter and the stuff that kept you like kind of motivated and kept ideas flowing and things. Like sometimes when I'm just like, okay, I'm in this room again for another day.
I know. I
It got
know.
challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, and I also like yes and no for me because during the pandemic, I had, but well, actually, before the pandemic, I had like jobs that would like get me out of the house, and like I had to go to work, socialize with people in that way. And then when the pandemic hit, both of those jobs went away. Was working from home, and then I quickly realized I was like, oh no, we are social creatures. Like I'm an introverted person myself, but like I quickly realized I was like, oh God, I feel so lonely because there's no one to talk to
Yeah.
during those days. So I definitely feel that. And then like I'm an editor. So like when I had to go back into the office when pandemic was like kind of settling down and people were not afraid to go back out into the world anymore, but like I was still in an office closed off from other people because that's what editors do. We're in sound booth rooms all day with like no windows and it's usually dark. um and so it's like that need for connection, that need to talk to people, that hit really hard too for me. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah, I'm with you because it's very much an introvert as well. And so like at first I'm kind of like, no, I kind of like it. I don't have to go through traffic, it's fine.
Hmm.
But then yeah, I quickly realized too, I'm like, ooh, this is like maybe a little too much alone for me.
A little too much alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it does something to your psyche. It really does. Yeah,
You
and only can I think a lot of those factors kind of like we're playing catalyst for the show. It's like, oh, I need people. I need to talk to people.
yeah,
Another reason why I kind of started the show because like loneliness was hitting. I was like, no, no, you just got to talk to people.
yeah.
You know.
You can call me up and talk anytime. Cause yeah, no, I feel the same way. I started
Oh,
to notice that too. Like after I would do the Tom Girl show, then I would have this like kick
yes.
of energy. And I was just like, oh, I'm like, well, it's because I actually got to talk to somebody and like have
Right.
a conversation and like interact again, you know? So yeah, it really is important and it's important for our health and our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny you said that you're more an introvert. I would not have expected that because every time I talk to you, you're like so bubbly and so outgoing, so energetic. I was like, I would not think you as an introvert whatsoever.
Yeah,
So,
you know, I have my times. Like I love like, you know, when we're doing stuff or we're hosting or we're talking and like my kind of core group of, you know, friends. But then I definitely lots of times need to like I just like hole up, you know, by myself, crawl
yeah.
back to my shell or, you know, or find myself sometimes like if in large groups, like struggling to know what to say or, you know, to do. So yeah, think like I would,
Recharge it. You got to be like, recharge the social battery.
yeah.
Yeah, I find that too. It's like very draining. And I always joke with people because sometimes people do invite me to like outgoings and stuff, and very rarely do I actually show up. But once I show up, people are like, Marissa, you're here? I'm like, I know. I showed my face because I definitely get that. It's like once you extrovert, then you have to like come back and reel yourself back, be like, all right, I did that. Now I'm set for like another 5 months.
Totally.
uh yeah, I definitely I definitely feel that too. I'm kind of going back a little bit because you know you and I we first bonded over country music. So again, I have to ask you, do you have a favorite country artist
Oh, there's so many.
or band?
Yeah. There's so many I love. I mean, I love like yeah, I mean if you're gonna go like old school like George Strait, I love him, you know. I
Yeah.
love Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, I love Jordan Davis. That's like
Ooh,
those
yeah.
two were like favorite, yeah. Um
Hmm.
there was a Sam Hunt stretch in there. I mean, also because he's so cute.
Oh man, yeah. I
But
mean, it if I was saying that I was listening to, breaking up was easier in the 90s song a couple days ago, yeah. I mean, I love Sam Hunt.
yeah, yeah. Body like a back road, you know.
Oh yeah. That whole Montevello album's
Oh, so
fantastic.
good. Yeah, so
So
good.
good.
Yeah, I like Brothers Osborne. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, Carrie Underwood. There's just so many. Like, yeah, so many good ones. I definitely would say that Tim McGraw is pretty high up there as one of my favorites.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you saying that a lot during our Nashville show. You make a lot of reference to Tim McGraw because I mean, first of all, hunk, and then second of all, it's just like his music. You know, it's so good. It's so family friendly.
Yep.
And then he has a lot of songs that are like with good messages about life.
Yeah.
Live like you were dying. I mean, come on, come on.
Humble
Yeah,
Mind. Yeah.
yeah. I
Don't.
mean, like, and I think he's a good positive male figure for the country. And
Yeah.
like fortunately he hasn't had like a lot of personal drama
Yeah.
where people maybe like the whole Faith and Tim marriage has been up and down over the years, we know that, but just him as a male figure in the country music industry is like been very positive, very consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And he just I have his book right over here actually too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a whole book on fitness and changing his body and you know getting you know saying it was funny because I he talks about the movie there's a movie in there he says that his kids like girls saw him and they were like dad because he was like you know had gained weight in the film and we just
Uh-huh.
watched I think it was was it three Christmas or four Christmases
Four
uh
Christmas. Okay.
old Reese Witherspoon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is Greg Vaughn in that one too?
yeah.
Or no? Vince Vaughn.
It's fun. Yes, yes,
Vince Vaughn. Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah, that one. Yes.
yep. And yeah, so he's in there and he doesn't even look like, him now. But yeah, so that book talks about all his transformation and getting like health back into his life as well. Yeah, I like his songs too, because they're not all about, like you said, they all have a good, a lot of them have a good message. Some of the ones that are just all about, drinking and beer and those, like,
Mm-hmm.
are my favorite country songs. So I like that his like have a way of, like you said, telling a story and kind of tugging at your heartstrings.
Yeah. And I always joke what makes a country artist is that you have 5 different types of songs. A heart song, a heartbreak song, a song about friends and family, a song about where you grew up from, your area, and a song about alcohol. If you have those 5 songs, you're a country artist. And then if you like literally look at all the country artists, they have those songs all the time, over and over and over again. That's like that. Those are the qualities that make you a good country artist. He definitely has that. Have you seen him? I assume you've seen him in concert.
I have. I actually saw when he went on tour a few years ago with Faith. So I saw
Okay.
them when their duet concert together was
Yeah.
fantastic, and just to hear them sing together was incredible.
You saw that? Oh gosh, I was like, I so wanted to go to that, but that was when I was working at AfterBuzz and didn't have a life, or time to go see anything. uh, yeah, I mean that's awesome. Would you say he's one of your favorite performers, or do you have a favorite concert that you've gone to?
Okay, for performers, I would say I took my mom to see Lady Gaga in Vegas.
Yes.
And that was insane. Like
Oh God,
she
I love her.
she talk about putting on a show and just a true performer. Like it was incredible. Like it was awesome. Someone who I would want to see, who I haven't though yet, is Pink. I feel like her concert would just be badass. I would really,
Insane.
yeah.
I love all those answers because love Lady Gaga. I have every one of her albums literally on my phone. And I like Pink's newest album that just came out. Like I immediately got that as well. Oh, she's fantastic. I haven't seen her personally in concert either, but like or either of them. I need to work on the Lady Gaga one, but I feel like because they are just amazing singers, amazing actual artists, they that naturally comes out on stage. Um, and yeah, they're on my list too to go see.
Yeah, just the passion. I mean, with Lady Gaga, just like, I mean, it just blows my mind to think that too, that like, I'm like, okay, she does how many of these in a row? Like, the amount of, like,
Right.
she's not just dialing it in, phoning it in. She's like giving her all. And it's just like, just so inspiring to see. And just, her just in messages too, that she had such a great positive message, about, inclusion and just like love for all. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I love her. I mean, she can sing, she can act, she can play guitar, piano, like all those things. She's just overall super super talented. That's what I love about her. Amazing. Amazing. And of course, like she blew my mind in A Star Is Born. So, oh my God. I already loved her as a singer, but then when I saw her really, really, really act, I was like, holy shit, like what can this woman not do?
Yeah.
So fantastic.
I agree. I remember going to that movie, just the Sherman Oak Galleria. And
I saw it there too.
yeah. And I remember like I went to like an afternoon matinee, 'cause that's always I'd go to like 11 or 12 o'clock movies. And
Mm-hmm.
I came out and I was just like, just I was just blown away. Like it was one of the best movies I had seen in a long time during that time, and I just like thought that they were so good together, and that she was just incredible. Like that was such a good movie.
That was so good. I saw that movie 6 times in theaters.
Did you really?
6. That set my personal record of how many times I've seen the same movie in theaters.
Wow.
6. That's how much she blew my mind. That's how much I love that film. Oh, so good. So good. Uh Yeah, going along with that, do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, this I know, right? Oh, wait, The
All
Wedding
right.
Singer, Adam Sandler.
Yes. All right. Do tell, to tell. Great, great. What is it about that film that you love?
I love Adam Sandler. He's my number one celebrity crush. Just I want to work for him. I just love him, love him, love him. Um, I just like I love him and Drew Barrymore together.
Hmm.
I could watch that all day because I love them. 51st Dates as well.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, I love like um just the whole idea of like the 80s, like the wedding singer type of thing too. So it's fun
Hmm.
to me. I love his character. I love the ending with Billy Idol and singing on the
Billy Idol on the plane.
Want to grow old with you. I want that as my wedding song if that ever happened. It's like,
Yeah.
I just it's just one of those movies. I love him so much, and it just makes me happy. It's fun to watch. I love the characters. Just one of those ones that just puts me in a good mood. And I think I love him too. Not just I'm obviously a super fan, but I totally being out here and working in the industry. I just have such a high respect for him, the way he treats people, and just puts his friends in his movies and people that he wants to
Yeah.
work with. And I just feel like I mean, he gets panned by people all the time, and and it's like he just does things the way he wants to do them, and I just love it, and I just have such high respect for him. So that's my
Yeah.
favorite movie. And then followed
Love it.
down his other movies.
Yeah, love it. I loved that pairing, Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler because it, I mean, there's really only like a handful of couples that have done several movies, like that too. And like, I keep thinking going back, I always had like, um, Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler, of course, but Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. And like, I can't really think of other couples off at the top of my head, but like, those were like who I grew up watching.
Mhm.
So definitely Wedding Singer, definitely 51st Dates. And I loved Blended. Oh my God, Blended was so good too. And just like the writing, and like you said, that he brings his friends on, so you see a lot of the same people over and over again, but you can tell just like that loyalty he has. And I think he's, which is like really unfortunate that people poo-poo him, because like when he does do a dramatic role, they're like, no, he can do drama too. Like he shouldn't just be pigeonholed into comedy. And I'm like, and I don't get that double standard when we see other comedian actors who can also like win Academy Awards for dramatic roles. I mean, hello, Robin Williams, hello, Brendan Fraser just won the Academy Award. I mean, so I was like, why can't they do it also? But and like Adam Sandler be recognized for dramatic roles. I don't get it.
Yeah, his performance in Uncut Gems was amazing. Like I love that movie so much, and I really thought that he should have won for that one, like won his Academy Award, his Oscar. Because I agree, like what you're saying about these comedy people who they don't take seriously in these roles, and he was just, I thought that movie, I mean, obviously playing basketball in college too. I'm a huge basketball movie like fan. You like Hoosiers, like
Same,
movies.
same.
But yeah, I thought that movie was fantastic and so well done, and he acted so well in it.
Yeah, because I remember watching Rain Over Me because I was a teenager when that movie came out, and that was probably, I mean, yeah, he had Punch Drunk Love, but Rain Over Me was probably one of the first dramatic roles I saw him in. I was
Mhm.
like, this is fantastic, and did not get as much credit or recognition for that role either. I was like, yeah, he can do drama, he can do comedy. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, that was another awesome movie. Now you're making me want to go back and watch all these movies
I
too.
know. We should just like go and have an Adam Sandler marathon. I'm totally for it. I will bring the wine and we could just go to town.
I'm in.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, my ultimate favorite movie is The Parent Trap, 1998, Nancy Myers. Uh, yeah, young Lindsay Lohan. That was her debut film. God, I love that movie so much. Rest in peace, Natasha Richardson. But it's just like that movie, because I was, I was 8 when that movie came out, so like I was definitely the target demographic for the young girls. But watching it over and over again, I can literally quote that movie front to back. I can play it in my head. Um, like I know every word, every beat, every cadence, literally. Like I could play it right now. Um, I don't. There's something about that film. It always makes me happy. I can always laugh at the funny moments, and the end. Oh, the end scene when they finally get together just kind of like it gets me emotional in the best way possible. Like every time I watch it, it just makes me smile as if I had never seen that movie before.
Uh,
And I was like, it is my comfort film. Like, seriously, if I can't sleep, I will put that movie on and it'll put me right to sleep, like in the best way possible. Be like, all right. I'm good, Like there's something about the movie, it's just so feel good. And it really hits me in the best way.
the power of movies.
Oh, I know. So good. Do you have a favorite strength about yourself?
Ooh, I would say my favorite strength about myself would probably be work ethic. I think,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, being raised in Nebraska, that was instilled in me in a early age, and I think that's probably my favorite that I think has probably gotten me the farthest.
Yeah, and I think that's where you and I both are like in that way because again, you're also from the Midwest, and I think that's I don't know about you, but for me, working hard was my ticket out of my area. Because I came from the cornfields, there are literally no opportunities. So the only way to get an opportunity was have education, get a degree, go to college, but also just work hard and actually like have a skill set, build a skill set that could be taken somewhere else that could get me out of my area. So, did you find that was your way to not to say get out of Nebraska, but like to take you to places
A
that
little
work
bit, yeah. It's
ethic?
funny you brought up the cornfield because my first job was actually working in a cornfield, and so I had to go just walk up and down the corn row. It's called detasseling, and you pull
Detasseling.
detasseling, yeah. And my
Yep.
dad owned the company with they were teachers, and he had owned it with like three other teacher friends of his. So there was no getting out of it. Every day I was in the summer, I was getting up for those 2 weeks at 4 a.m.
Oof.
And I remember like going out in the cold, wet cornfield. And then in the morning, you're just freezing and you're soaking wet. But then as the day goes on, then it's just so hot in the Midwest. So it's hot and humid. And then you're getting like sliced by the corn,
Ugh,
so
rough.
it was definitely, that was, I think, the first and like hardest job I've ever had to do. But I'm so grateful that I had to do it because that made me then, as I've got other jobs, I appreciated like how hard we had to work in detasseling. So then when I went to go and then worked at a movie theater, I'm like, I can work doubly
This
hard
is
because this
easy.
is easy. Like, yeah. So, and I think working, for me, it was always the work ethic for, I think my ticket, what I saw at the time was athletics. So wanted to work really
Okay.
hard, so that I could it was just my dream to play basketball at Nebraska. So I knew I just had to work hard, all through high school, junior high and high school, going to basketball camps, playing all the time, would always be out. I remember being out in the driveway when my hands were, cold and no, I got to make 10 free throws in a row before I can go inside. I have to, so I
I
think,
was the same way. I was like 20. I
yeah,
was like, let me make 20.
oof, that's good. I only went 10. Then I do some threes and stuff, or I'd have to go like around the horn and then back around,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, those games. So yeah, and I think that's what then at Nebraska, when I did, then that work ethic got me to walk on at Nebraska. And then that kind of where my professionally shifted, because I thought I wanted to work as a copywriter at an ad agency, but then I started working
Hmm.
athletic department, and that's when I got into broadcasting because I was working for the sports broadcasting um Husker group at the University of Husker Vision. So anyway, yeah, but then with there too, it was again work ethic. Like I loved it
Hmm.
because it was a small group, and you had to do everything. You had to know how to pull cable, you had to know how to shoot the camera, you had to know how to edit, you had to, and you had to be self motivated to dive in there and do all those things. So
Yeah.
and then that was my ticket then out, because like you, there, other than Husker Vision at the time, it was pretty much like a handful of small agencies and then like local news, but there weren't the opportunities that there are out here.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And then I think for you and I, both women in the industry, is like we kind of have to know to do everything as kind of more of a job security.
Mm.
Because I feel that that like the more I know, the more they can't fire me. They're like, oh, Marissa can do this too. So we need her to fill in these shoes that someone else doesn't have. So I just find it makes you more versatile and makes you more indispensable.
Yeah, especially nowadays too, when companies are all merging and there's all these layoffs
Hmm.
everywhere. Like the more you can do, definitely helps your cause.
Yeah, and it's also like good for our resume too. But yeah, again, like building that skill set that no one else has that makes you stand out against other people. Definitely, I definitely understand that. Yeah, you and I love basketball. What's your favorite team?
North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm a North
Yeah.
Carolina Tar Heel. Yeah, love them.
Okay. Are they college or are they
They're college. Yeah, college.
okay?
Yeah. Favorite pro, I grew up, of course, loving the Bulls and Michael Jordan. We
Yeah.
didn't have a pro team in Omaha, or Nebraska, so we didn't really have our own, team. So we watched a lot of Chicago. I did like the Lakers growing up. Actually, living out here, I've become more of a Clippers fan.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved a few years ago when they had, CP3 and JJ Redick and Blake.
Yeah.
I loved that
Blake.
team. So then I really fell in love with watching them play then. So my mom's a big Phoenix Suns fan over in Phoenix. So we have to battle when they're playing.
Yeah, LA Clippers had a serious run back in like 2015. I remember that for like a good like solid 3 years because Doc Rivers left Boston Celtics, unfortunately, because I'm a Boston Celtics fan. When Doc Rivers left the Celtics to go over to the Clippers, and then Clippers were good because like they had their big three there, and then now, which ironically now Blake Griffin is now over is the Celtics now. So it's just kind of crazy how the sport and how ever changing it is with the players. Yeah, I love basketball. Wait, what was your position in basketball?
I was a shooting guard.
Yes,
What were
nice.
you?
I was point guard. I was small, I was fast, but I was actually a pretty good shooter too because I didn't have height, so I had to have range. You got to make up for the things that you lacked. So no, I was like one of the only girls that could shoot a 3-pointer. For being as small and short, I was on the court. I had a good mid range. Not gonna lie, toot my own horn for that. But yeah, no, I was definitely I was starting point guard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
like for the longest time, of course, growing up, I loved NBA, WNBA. I kind of fell out of it once I like kind of grew past that age. And regular NBA, I watched that consistently. But no, there was a short time in my life I was like, maybe I could do basketball, but then like I didn't go past 5'3". I was like, oh well, dreams dashed there. Can't do more than that. So that was a pipe dream. Yeah, but I do love basketball. That's my favorite sport too. So we have that in common.
yeah, it's
Um,
so fun.
yeah, so good, so good. Maybe we should do pick up basketball together.
I do that. I haven't played honestly in a pickup game for so like I shoot with my niece and nephew when they come.
Hmm.
We'll play games, but like as far as like going to a court outside or something, I haven't done that in so long.
Oh yeah, we should. I have like 3 basketballs literally in my closet, and I have one in my trunk. Like I'm not short of basketballs. Like don't worry, we're set. And I have a basketball pump, so we're good. Yeah, let me know if you ever want to. I definitely will.
We'll have to do a
And
morning
then
hike and then basketball and then the Adam Sandler marathon.
yeah, yeah, we have our homework cut out for us. I'm ready. I'm ready. And then because this is my show and I kind of like to feel good about myself every once in a while, what would you say is your favorite thing about me?
Everything. How
Oh.
do I deal? Man, I love your spirit. I love your energy. I love your attitude. I love that you're again that you'll try things too and that you're always up for things. And I love like that you're badass with the Krav Maga. So I love that you have the good like strong like female energy and when I kick the ass and be aggressive too, but then like you like things like Parent Trap or like that balance
Yeah.
of hardcore and then the soft. selfishly, I love how hard you work for me on the helping me like with Tom
Yes.
Girl and
Our
helping.
producer, Tom Girl podcast show. Yes.
Yeah. And so again, you support women too, and you're always like trying to help me or find ways, that I can make that better and be better. So I think you have a really like giving nature as well, and like really supportive of your friends and your group and your group. Yeah.
Oh, stop it. Well, thank you, JJ. And you know how much I love you, and like, because I always admired you. You were one of those people out here in LA that was like always consistent, in my life. That's like, yeah, I don't know, because you see me during my days at AfterBuzz, and I still can. You were one of those people when AfterBuzz closed and we all left. That like you were definitely one of those people that I was like, well, I still want to keep JJ in my life, I kind of need her. Um, but like I don't know, there's something about you that like I always gravitated towards you, and you're like, and how nice and generous of a person you are. You got me cupcakes for my birthday. I was like, holy crap, what? No one asked you to. And like, and I was just even surprised you remembered. So it was like little things like that I was like, no, JJ's a good person. You got to keep her around. So thank you for being on my show. Where can everyone follow your stuff?
All right. Well, you can follow. I'm personally at jj.jurgens on Instagram. I don't do too much on Facebook personally, but and then Tom Girl, you can follow me everywhere at Tom Girl TV or Facebook, Instagram. On our YouTube channel, you can subscribe there and watch all the episodes and see all of Marissa's hard work. She's done that all set up and editing all those shows.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, JJ. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun.